Now let's say you are given a problem statement something like this. You have to print 1, you have to print 1 comma 2, then you have to print 1 comma 2, not comma, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4. So let's say you have to print something like this. I will use for loop for executing this. So for printing such things we need 2 loops. So why do we need 2 loops? Let's try to see the solution for this. So we need one loop that controls the vertical part basically. So as you can see that every time this number is getting incremented. So we need to have a variable that takes care of this incrementing number, and we need to have a loop that prints the number from 1 to that particular number. So let's try to write a code for this. So I'll have a for loop. Let's say it starts from 1, it goes till let's say 4 plus plus. Now if I try and print this, I will simply get 1 2 3 4. But what do I want? I want that when the value of I is 1, I want only 1 to get printed. When the value of I is 2, I want 1 and 2 to get printed. Similarly, when the value of I is 3, I want 1, 2, 3 to get printed. So for this, we will need another loop. So we have another loop that starts from 1 and that goes only till the value of I, and we also incremented. And what do I do is that I print this particular value j. So now what will happen? Let's try and run this loop. So initially my I is equal to 1. So when my I is equal to 1, let's say I equal to 1, my j starts from 1. So let's say j is equal to 1. Let's say j is equal to 1. J is less than equal to I. Yes, j is less than equal to I. J is equal to I. Now j gets printed. So my 1 gets printed. Now what happens? J gets incremented. The value of j becomes 2. Now the value of j becomes 2. This condition is checked. Is j less than equal to I now? No, my value of I is 1 and j has become 2. So this loop gets terminated. We again come back here to the outer loop. So you can think of this as the outer loop and you can think of this as the inner loop. So inner loop runs for every value of outer loop, and this is what we are trying to understand, that how is this running. So initially for I equal to 1, this loop will run for one number of time. Now my I is equal to 2. Now let's say how things goes. We have j equal to 1. Let's say I'm writing j equal to 1. Is j less than equal to I? Yes, my I was 2, j is 1, so j is less than equal to I. Now what happens? 1 gets printed, j is 1. Now my j gets incremented, and now again this condition is checked, that is j less than equal to I? Yes, my j is equal to 2 and I is equal to 2. So again this gets printed. Now my j increments again, and now this condition is checked. Now my j has become 3 and j is now not equal to or less than I. So this becomes false. We again come back to the outer loop. So when we left the outer loop, I was 2. Now I gets incremented. I becomes 3. We check that 3 is less than equal to 4. Yes. So we again come to the inner loop. We check from j equal to 1. We start from j equal to 1. Let's say j gets printed. Then my j gets incremented. J becomes 2. Now we see, is 2 less than equal to 3? Yes. So 2 gets printed. Now my j becomes 3. Again this condition is checked. J is less than equal to I? Yes. 3 gets printed. Now my j becomes 4. So when my j becomes 4, again this condition is checked. And now is my j less than equal to I? No. Then again this loop breaks and we come back here, and now my I becomes 4. And now when my I becomes 4, we come back here. This loop will be running from 1 to 4. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4 gets printed. After j become 5, this loop is terminated. We come back to this loop. Now the value of I has become 5. And is 5 less than equal to 4? No. So as soon as this condition becomes false, we come out of this complete loop. So this is one of the examples of nested loop, in which we have a loop inside another loop, and this is how the nested loops work. Depending upon the problem statement, this condition changes, this initialization changes, and obviously this increment operator changes depending upon the problem statement. So this was all about loops. We have one more loop called for each, which we will discuss while talking about arrays.